What's up, everybody? Charlie Marlow here on a Thursday. I know it's a little bit late, 5 days after the first big college football Saturday of the year. Sorry, I don't count week 0. But we're going to do week 1 college football recap, and we're going to try to do this each and every week of the college football season. So let's get right to it. I'm an Ohio State fan, so I'm going to watch Ohio State usually no matter what, although they are playing Grambling coming up this weekend. So that one may be over quick. That could be like 70-0. Although you don't want to show Grambling disrespect, but that one is not going to be a great game. However, Ohio State, Texas, pretty good game, at least on the scoreboard. Now, it wasn't the most exciting game, obviously. You're thinking maybe you could get some decent offense. Obviously, both teams have a really good defense, and that played out. But you had two young gunslingers, unproven, but really highly touted quarterbacks, Arch Manning and Julian Sayin. And man, there was not a lot of offense to be got in that game. However, though, before we start breaking that one down, let's talk about the pregame, because I do think it was cool. College game day with Lee Corso. I was never really into game day watching it. I've never watched it religiously. I'm the type of person where if Ohio State's playing at, it's 11 o'clock because I live in the central time zone. If Ohio State's playing at 11, and they do a lot, I know people complain about that. A lot of the big Buckeye games are at noon Eastern. But if Ohio State's playing at 11, then I'm trying to get stuff done in the morning, stuff with the kids. Maybe they have a game, try to get to the gym, whatever it is, and then just lock in 5-10 minutes before the game. So I've never really been a big college game day person, but obviously I've seen it over the years. And I do think it was very cool the way they went out with Lee Corso. And they said they're going to do it in a way they'd never done it before, and they're out on the field. You're thinking, is he going to dot the I? Is he going to dot the I with the band? Which he didn't do, but still it was very cool. He had the tuxedo on. And what did Lee Corso say? My first love, the first mascot head he put on was Brutus. Brutus, the nice headgear, and then he did it again for his final prediction. And then I saw, what, did he get every single prediction right? So good on Lee Corso. That was cool to see. All right, back to the game. So look, here's what was really entertaining to me. The game wasn't that entertaining. Now, fourth quarter got a little interesting, but once Arch Manning started playing and performing poorly, man, the memes on Twitter were so funny. So funny. And I was tweeting this out myself. I wonder if college football Twitter is the funniest of all Twitters. Is it funnier than political Twitter? I mean, the memes came fast and furious, and like a picture of JFK in his older years, if he would have lived, and it said, this is JFK if Arch Manning was the shooter. I mean, all kinds of and worse than that. So you can just, you can go and check on X, but they were really, really funny. And look, I think it was deserved. And some people are saying, oh, this is the media's fault for hyping up Arch Manning too much. And yeah, did the media hype up Arch Manning a lot? They did. But also, I mean, it's year 3 for this dude. He's a Manning. By the way, he was in every commercial. Seems like a good kid, but he was in every commercial in between play. And it's like at the beginning, you're watching him play and he's not very good. And then you go to whatever it was, the Ori commercial or the sunglasses, the eyeglasses commercial that he was in there. And I thought Arch Manning looked rattled early. I actually thought, when I tweeted this, I thought he looked yippy. I thought he had the yips a little bit. Now, a lot of people way smarter than I in football are saying that Matt Patricia's defense was just right on point in terms of disguising coverages. And I get that as well, but still, like, some of his early throws, he's skipping the ball off the turf and throwing the ball behind guys and throwing at dudes' shoe tops and all that. So I thought he looked nervous, honestly. And credit goes to Matt Patricia, who, by the way, I never really liked. So now, as an Ohio State fan, I feel like I do have to like Matt Patricia. But, I mean, he dialed it up, and he had just an absolutely picture-perfect game plan. But also, it looked like Arch Manning had time to throw. And I don't know if he was seeing ghosts out there, but he looked bad to me. And I understand it's on the road, first big game, first big start, first road start. Ohio State's defense is elite. It's going to be just packed with NFL players, but I was really, really unimpressed, actually. I was really unimpressed with Arch Manning. And I hope he plays better moving forward. I got nothing against the kid, but like, based on all the hype, and I'm not somebody who watches all the games. I never have been the last several years since I've been out of TV especially. So I'm watching Ohio State. So I've heard of the hype about Arch Manning. And I looked, and I guess he started a couple games last year, and I think he started against Mississippi State. So that's decent competition. But I just expected him to be pretty good in this game. I expected Julian Sayin to be pretty good. I think Julian Sayin was better than Arch Manning. But I think as that game progressed, Ryan Day just kind of realized what they had to do to win. And I think he was super, super conservative. And it worked out, even though in the end it's a one-score game, and Texas and Arch Manning have the chance to tie it there at the end. But I never really thought Ohio State was going to lose that game. And, after a few minutes in, a quarter in, whatever it was, I didn't really think Ohio State was going to lose that game. Also, glad Ohio State is number one in the country. And I don't even want to say I don't care, but that was the right pick. I saw some people on ESPN, I think it was Booger McFarland, even suggested Penn State should be number one. It's like, what are we talking about here? And then someone else, was it Heather Dinich? I don't know all the names, but I feel like she said, LSU because their win on the road versus Clemson. And I'm just thinking to myself, we're trying too hard here, folks. I understand ESPN is in bed with the SEC. We know Fox is in bed with the Big Ten, but like, we're overthinking things. And I give LSU credit. That's a big win on the road, Clemson. But like, Ohio State is the defending national champs. They won. They beat the number one team in the country. Their defense was just off the charts good. Ohio State should be number one. They were ranked number one, and it wasn't even close. So that was good to see. Okay, so Ohio State watched that whole game. Bing, bang, boom. And then, so I didn't watch, Alabama, another thing. Alabama fans going crazy. Didn't watch that game, but whoo. So what, Kalen DeBoer has lost 5 games in his last however many. So Alabama fans are not too happy. And I got nothing against Kalen DeBoer. So I like seeing people getting ornery. And clearly Alabama fans are. It's pretty early. It's year 2, 1 game into year 2, but you're starting to see little leaks and this and that and things about culture. And I saw today, I was reading a headline where a Michigan player said that they run more at Michigan, a transfer, because DeBoer, they didn't condition well at Alabama. You're starting to just see some little things here. A booster comes out and anonymously at a blog and says these guys at the hotel are coming in and out and eating food at late hours and all that. And it just seems like it's not the same discipline program as Nick Saban. So we'll see. It's very early there. I do think, though, Kalen DeBoer just really came on the scene on a national level pretty quickly there with Washington. And all of a sudden, boom, gets the Bama job. It did seem kind of like an odd fit to me. And I understand he was really hot at the time. I always thought that Dabo, just because Dabo went to Alabama, I always thought Dabo was the guy that would succeed Nick Saban. But obviously Dabo's got Clemson rolling so good the last 10, 15 years, so he's got a good thing going right there. So Bama fans going nuts. And then let's move to, was it Sunday? Sunday is Notre Dame and Miami. And I did watch like the final quarter of that game. And Notre Dame comes back, and then there's the field goal at the end, so Miami wins it. And again, I just watched the last quarter of that game. I'm rooting for Marcus Freeman. I grew up, I was never a fan of Notre Dame. I kind of always liked to see Notre Dame lose. I really didn't like Brian Kelly at all. Still don't. But I root for Marcus Freeman, not just because he was a Buckeye, but he seems like a good dude. He's likable. But it does always seem like Notre Dame, they're always a little bit overrated. Even if it's a little bit, they're a little bit overrated usually at the beginning of the season. Even last year when they came back and they were in the college football playoff championship game, but I mean, their early ranking, they lost to Northern Illinois. I mean, they were favored on the road, true road game at Miami. I thought that was a little much. So watched all of Ohio State, watched a quarter of Notre Dame, Miami. And then I want to get to, this is Monday. I didn't watch any of, I'm just being honest with you folks, didn't watch any of North Carolina, TCU. But obviously TCU crushes Chapel Bill and Bill Belichick in North Carolina in his debut. Everybody's going nuts and you got the girlfriend and all that. And I do think it's just such a hilarious story to me. Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, it's such a hilarious story. And we all know, if you're a rich dude, successful dude, you got money, you got Super Bowls and all that, we know you're going to get younger women, right? I find it so funny. And I wonder, when did Bill Belichick actually think he could score a lady that much younger? You know, whatever he is he 73? She's 24. I don't even know the exact numbers, but it's an insane age gap. I just find it hilarious. And if they met on a plane a couple years ago, whatever it was, again, if Bill Belichick's in his 70s, money, power, Super Bowls, he knows he's going to be able to get any, 52-year-old woman, sure. 46-year-old divorcee, all good. But like when that woman sat down next to him, did Bill really think he had a chance? Like, okay, again, 38-year-old, what's the old adage is you take the person's number, you divide it by 2 and you add 7, I believe. So if Bill Belichick, I don't even know what he is. Is he 73? So you're talking like 36 or 7, add 7, that's like 44, 45. And this chick is 24 years old. I just find it so funny. Like when she sat down and he starts talking to her, did he really right off the bat think he had a chance with this girl this young? Or did they start to talk and he's realizing, man, like at the beginning he's thinking, okay, this woman's very pretty, but she's too young for me, right? But then he starts to talk to her. He's like, dude, I have a chance with this girl who's basically 50 years younger than me. I find the whole story hilarious. I will literally just be sitting around and I'll just think of that every once in a while and I just laugh. And you see her, gorgeous. You see him, he's got the man boobs and all that. Hey, and I've seen the meme before. You show an old dude with a young girl and you can say you show it to your son. This is what you can have, right? When you're an old guy with money, you can have this beautiful young woman. But then you also show it to your daughter, right? Because look, you're the pretty daughter, and that's what you got. The older dude, the 70-something-year-old dude. So I don't even know if I got that analogy correct, but there's something out there like that. Anyway, I honestly really laugh because it's just an insane age gap. It makes no sense. I think it's hilarious. I just think it's hilarious for college football when she's out there and all the memes about that too. Let's just wrap up on that note. We're not going to go super long. The memes won the day. Arch Manning memes for week 1. Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, Jordan, I don't even know her last name. I'll know her last name for next week. But the memes for that and, can I borrow $20 for the concession stand and all that? It's just hilarious. It's a good storyline. It's good for college football. There you go. So that's my week 1 recap. Didn't watch a ton. Watched Ohio State. Watched a quarter of Notre Dame. And Miami. Bill Belichick's girlfriend is just insane. Just a crazy, crazy story. But this is 2025, and this is what we get. Everything's nuts. There you go. Hopefully we'll have more for week 2, but we do have Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's NASCAR weekend in St. Louis, so I'm going to be at the track Saturday and Sunday. Won't watch as much football, but we'll check in next week. Love you all. Peace out. Week 1, college football in the books. Go Bucks.